Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery, it's my pleasure to be with you here this morning. We get together most weekdays at 8 o'clock Central, barring weather like has impacted us this week. But normally we get together with our distribution partners to talk about strategies, tips, techniques, success stories, and such. So today is the 2nd. On, I believe it was the 31st of January, we actually had gone through a lesson on taxes, because sometimes you'll have clients that haven't filed taxes on their businesses because the business hasn't yet generated income. So we went through a pretty detailed discussion by type of business, sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, or corporation, of if that's okay or not. Now, today we're going to talk about a different topic, but it's similar in the light that we're digging into implementation. What is it that we're doing to help clients prepare for funding? And today we're going to talk about the business plan in general, but also Live Plan. So we subscribe and we buy Live Plan for every client that goes through the process. Live Plan is a cloud-based business planning and financial forecasting software. When I worked at the SBA, this is what we used for SBA clients. When I was a college professor, this is what we used for our entrepreneurial class. And we've used it for several years for our clients in what we commonly call access to capital. So I want to give you a few highlights. If you don't have a login to Live Plan, email us at support. And it's a really fun tool to use. It's flexible in the sense that it allows the user to navigate and populate the areas they're comfortable with and leave those that they're not. So this is actually a real business plan from one of our clients, Ryan. He's a realtor out of Florida. And so I've already logged in as Ryan, and this is cloud-based. And so cloud-based, of course, means that the client and we both have access to it. So that allows us to work on it as well as them. The main menu bar is on the left, and we'll go through each of these briefly: pitch, plan, forecast, benchmark, schedule, dashboard, and options. And then they can even go in and invite their CPA, invite their counsel, legal counsel, so forth, if they want to make other people to have access to it. But by design, we'll have access to it and the client will have access to it. The page that I'm on now, just I guess by default when we started, is the benchmark page. And so let's go ahead and talk about it, and then we'll talk about some of the other pages as well. So again, this is a free benefit. It's part of that refundable deposit that the client pays, that we help them build out their business plan. But the business plan is more than just maybe what you would first think about. Well, let's write down who I am and what I want to do. There's more to it. So for example, on the benchmark page we're on now, once we have put in the client's NAICS code, now this client's NAICS code is 531311 for residential property managers. Ryan's not buying and selling property, commercial nor residential. He's not rehabbing, but he is a property manager. And so that industry code is correct. As many of you have worked with us on funding for yourself or for your clients, what you'll find is that in many cases we'll need to know the industry code because the lender will ask for that as well. It also segments by region because different industries behave differently in different geographic regions of the United States. And then we also categorize our company size. Once we have put in our industry, our region, and our company size, then what will happen is the system will populate some metrics. And this is really important. Hear me out, if you will. So there's a benchmark metric that's based upon, again, the industry, the region, and the size. And then there's what do we have forecasted? Well, why do you think that would be important? Well, one of the reasons that's important is that if our forecast is vastly different than the industry overall, we have some explaining to do, because either we're thinking that we're going to do a lot better than the industry overall, so we're going to really need to be able to support how we're so much different to outperform the industry, which is possible. Or if we're underperforming the industry, what's wrong there? I mean, we're actually projecting to be less profitable in that example than the industry as a whole. So, and this is still a work in process, so this isn't finished, but as far as where we're at with Ryan, the industry benchmark for gross margin is 97%. Right now, our forecast for Ryan's business is only 82. So we need to dig a little deeper and decide, is that okay? Is that where we're at? Or maybe we've missed something whereby we're not anticipating to be as profitable as our peer group. Same for operating margin and same for net profit margin. Then there's different productivity metrics, again, looking at benchmarks versus what our forecasts are as far as revenue per employee, and we can click in and see more in terms of net profit per employee. So it's really a deep software that's very valuable. It's worth thousands of dollars, and again, we provide that at no cost to each client as they're going through the capital raise process as we're preparing. I had one of our partners that asked yesterday, the client had just signed up, and he said, well, why can't we just go for business funding now? And I was explaining to him, well, the client's not ready. We don't have the documentation in order yet. And so you can start to see why putting together the loan package and the documentation is important. Because if you think that we're going to go borrow hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars and lenders aren't going to look similarly, they're going to look at, if we're projecting, in this case, Ryan's projecting less profit than the industry overall. So that probably wouldn't draw a lot of scrutiny. But let's say these numbers were reversed. If the industry overall was at 82 and here we're presenting 97%, then that lender would put a red flag on it, because it seems that we're outperforming the market. Why is that? We can also link in our QuickBooks and have additional data feed. So this is just one of the pages that I thought you might find interesting. The pitch, in this case, Ryan's not done the pitch, but we can skip past the introductory video if we want. And so we could actually go in and build a pitch. A pitch is really well suited for equity-based capital raises. So when we're going after investors. And so we can go in and create a headline, identify what the problem is that we're solving, the solution to the problem. Again, it's real simple just to type the answers in. Target market, competitive landscape, how much funding that we need, brief synopsis of sales and marketing, but so easy. And so then it imports in the data that we've already put in. And so this was put in over in the forecast tab, which I'll show you in a minute. We can create milestones, identify team members and any partners and resources. And so what happens is this looks really sharp once it's populated. Now, for a debt-based capital raise, in other words, when we're wanting to get loans versus equity, the pitch really isn't that important. So that's why we didn't necessarily recommend that Ryan do that, but he certainly could. All functionality is available to the client, even though we don't need all tabs completed for the loan package, if that makes sense. Now, plan is at the core of it. So the plan, to me, in live using the software, is where the words are, and the forecast is where the numbers are. And I'll show you both, of course. And they migrate, the forecast, the numbers migrate into the plan, which we'll see in a minute. So then we have the categories: executive summary, opportunity, execution, company, and financial plan. I know that can be confusing, but financial plan's more the synopsis, The raw data is going to go over here in the forecast. And again, we'll get to that in a moment. So on the executive summary, it states the opportunity in terms of what's the problem in the marketplace, what's our solution to that, start to define the market, start to identify our competition, why we're different, a synopsis of our forecast, financial highlights by year. And again, these numbers are going to be imported in, of course, from the forecast, as I mentioned. Get back down. And then this is a very important area here, financing needed. This is the section that, in the executive summary, we get more detailed here in a bit, and I'll show you under the financial plan. But this is where we're specifically stating how much capital we're seeking. And this is one reason, just one reason, why a business plan is essential for being able to go for funding. Let's take again the partner yesterday who, I mean, he was professional, nice, but he wanted to take his client to funding immediately, even though we didn't have the business plan. Well, here's one reason why that won't work, right? Because we don't even know how much funding the business wants, what they're going to use it for. So we have to know those things to create a funding plan. So that's the executive summary. Now let's drop down to the opportunity. He skipped this because he had trouble with it, and we could always go back in and he can add comments, or I can add comments, but I can say, Ryan, let's work on this together on our next scheduled call. So he would see that, he'd be notified of that. So the problem we're solving, the solution, and you might say, well, isn't this redundant? Didn't we just talk about this? But yes, the executive summary is that. It's an executive summary. It's a succinct summarization. Now we're into the body of the business plan, which will have more details about what was summarized in the executive summary. Certainly, there's overlap, and cut and paste can occur. So problem, solution, more detail about the target market, total of 1,019 single family homes in the city of Winter Haven, Florida, that are not owner occupied. Of this market, 536 of these homes are owned by individuals, and 483 are owned by entities like LLCs and trusts, and so forth. So we're defining to the reader to help them understand our business and our business environment. This is good information for the client to know, to understand their competition, but it's especially important, excuse me, for the reader, the lender, because the lender is expecting that the client has done this research. Excuse me. So then we have our competition in terms of that there's 5 other competing property management companies, identifying our advantages. And then that takes us down to execution. This is where we identify our marketing plan, our sales plan. And again, you might say, well, I don't know some of this. Well, when we click on edit, now all this was blank because we've worked with Ryan on populating this, but in the beginning, each of these sections were blank. But when you go into edit, it gives a real nice description, and we can even get examples. So the nice thing is, and it's real easy to format. In the beginning, really all we're trying to do is get the client to just empty their head out, to populate the information, the ideas that they have. But anyway, let's progress. Then we identify what's going to happen with our operations, our technology, any equipment and tools that might be used. We can go in and set up milestones that are like key timelines for things to happen. That's not required. Ryan didn't do that, but that's an option. Any key metrics. Get to the company, talking about the ownership and structure of the company, who's the management team, who are the advisors. And then our financial plan. Again, this is still the words, not all the numbers. You'll see some imported in charts. We'll get to the numbers on forecast, as I mentioned a moment ago. But here's where we're making assumptions of the money that's going to come in, projected revenue, projected expenses, projected profit or loss by year. Here is one of the most important sections of all, and this is the uses of funds. This is where the borrower, the client, identifies what they're going to be using the money for, because we can't just say, oh, I want $1 million. I just want $100,000. Well, what is it that we're going to use it for? Because the uses of funds will have an impact on where we'll pursue the funding. For example, I was working with a client yesterday. We applied and he got approved for funding, but we broke it apart. He had really 3 categories. He wanted some working capital and payroll. We'll group those together. And then he needed a piece of equipment, and we were going to treat it separately. We've not applied for it yet. And then he wants a company vehicle, which we've not applied for yet. We're doing the working capital first, which again, he was approved for. So us understanding what the use of funds is going to be can very much impact the strategy for the capital raise. So use of funds, how we're going to spend the money, source of funds, where the money is going to come from. And so how much do we wish to borrow? How much are we going to contribute? Are there any other investors that are going to contribute? So forth. Then we start getting our projected profit and loss. This is pretty slick here by year, looking out over 3 years. We tend to like to do financials for a 3-year projection. That's what many lenders like to see. So projected profit and loss, projected balance sheet, projected, sorry, my computer's lagging, projected cash flow statement here in a second. All right, so that takes us to the next section. So we've talked about the pitch. The pitch is really optional, most relevant if we're going to do an equity-based capital raise. The plan are the words, very important. We talked about some of the most important sections, including financing needed and uses of funds. Now we get over to forecast. Forecast is where the numbers are, and it's a bunch of cells, so it makes it very easy to put together. It breaks down by revenue, direct costs, personnel, expenses, assets, taxes, dividends, cash flow assumptions, and even financing. And so with that, we're able to generate profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and cash flow. May seem a little intimidating, don't let it be. Our white label partners help clients put all this together. Our white label partners are competent and professionals, and they're the advisors working with their clients. If you're an affiliate, then there won't be a white label partner involved. If you're a white label partner, this is part of what you do. We talked about the benchmarks earlier. There can be a schedule, milestones, key dates created, which Ryan hasn't done, so there's none to show there. An overall dashboard. This is really good if we want to link our QuickBooks, and you hear us talk about we need to have QuickBooks or some sort of accounting software to track our ongoing financial performance. We can actually link QuickBooks and then compare our projections to actual, and then there's some options. So let's go back to the benchmark screen. Let me pause and let's ask each of you, what questions do you all have in terms of live plan, who gets it, how it works, and anything that you need to know. My goal today is not to overwhelm you with this, but I just want to make sure that everyone is on the same page with the value proposition that we're providing clients. When they're asked to pay that refundable deposit, and it's normally refundable. You could make it non-refundable if you wanted to, but normally it's refundable. Normally it's $2,500. Well, that's for them to receive assistance in building their loan package. And this is part of that. Also gathering the documents, building out the PFS. They don't have their balance sheet or income statement. All right, so Timothy's got a question about just that balance sheet income statement. So he noticed when we went through the forecast, here's profit and loss and balance sheet. But this is typically used for projections going forward. When we talk, Timothy, about, and everyone else, when we talk about QuickBooks, we're talking about current and or historical information. So often a well-ran business will have something like this, which will provide the live plan for projections, but they'll also typically have something like QuickBooks for actually measuring actual and producing current reports, because this is typically not used for recording historical numbers. That's why when we talked about the dashboard, we can cover the entire continuum, the past, the present, and the future, if we actually link our QuickBooks to it, which Ryan hasn't done here. Thank you, Timothy, for that question. So again, if you're a white label partner, helping your clients build their business plan out is an important element. We're here to support you and assist you. We pay for it, comes out of our pocket. We just paid again yesterday to LivePlan to buy these subscriptions for our clients, and that's fine. That's part of what we do. That's part of the value proposition that the client gets. The client enrolls, the client gets their first tranche of funding, they pay the refundable deposit, and then we start working on their loan package, which often will include LivePlan. Susan asked if the client must use LivePlan, and the answer is no. If they already have a business plan and financial forecast, that's perfectly fine. So this is available, but they don't have to redo the work that they've done. It is just simply an option. All right, does anyone else have any questions regarding LivePlan, how it fits into the loan package, why it's important, why it's valuable? Anyone else have any questions? All right, Harry's asking a question, and it's a good one, and we've done some of this in the past. And so Harry's asking about getting together and doing this in person with clients. So yes, we've done that in the past, and we've offered it where you can get groups of clients. So let's say, Harry, you enrolled 10 clients, and we would send one of our trainers, myself or one of the other trainers, out and actually help them build their full plan and build their loan package in one day. So the answer is absolutely yes. And we've done that in the past. I'm thinking about, we did one not too long ago in Chicago. We actually did it in a church, in the basement of the church, and it was great. It was really a community supported endeavor. I forget the number of people we had there. I think it was 53 or 63. So that, I mean, yes. So if you have some visions of how we could pull people together and help them build their package in person during a one-day event, absolutely, just visit with us one-off. But in general, that's not going to be the norm. In general, they're going to get access to LivePlan. It's cloud-based, and they can work on it from the convenience of their home or office. Great questions this morning. Anyone else have questions? Alfred's got a good one. So Alfred's one of our distribution partners, and he's asking, should he have a business plan? Absolutely. I think every business should have a business plan. So if you're an affiliate, you probably should have a business plan. If you're a white label partner, you definitely should have a business plan where we have forecast and benchmarks. If you operate other businesses on the side, I think each business should have a business plan. It's been proven that businesses that have written business plans have a higher success rate and a higher survival rate of even being around in 3 to 5 years. So we can help you do that as an affiliate for yourself, as a white label partner for yourself. And of course, that's what you and I collectively do for businesses, is helping them build their loan package for funding. So absolutely. Great question, Alfred. Anyone else have any questions on this? All right, Tony's got a different question. So Tony is kind of migrating, I think, from Ohio to South Carolina, has a few things going on. So you're right with what Tony is inferring. This does require the entrepreneur to lock in on something. Now, we can always change our plans in general or change our business plan specifically, but Tony's right. One of the benefits of this is it has people lock in on what is it they're doing. How are they going to make money? How much money do they want to borrow, and what are they going to use that borrowed money for? And can they afford to pay it back? So Tony, you're exactly correct. One of the benefits from this, which I don't know that the typical client cares about that, but from your and my perspective as advocates for small businesses, this does cause the client to vet through their ideas and forces them, and I don't mean that negatively, but forces them to think more concretely about what it is they're going to do and what they're trying to accomplish. And that can help a lot. I think you'll see a lot of times people will come to you, they've not really vetted through their idea or their business. They're chasing money. And so we can get them money, right? We promise, we guarantee them at least 100,000, but it sure would be nice if they were able to use that money put that money into a viable business, watch that money grow. So it's a good economic decision for them. Excellent questions this morning. So as you can see here in the bottom corner, it's 34 degrees and we're having a wintry mix. So the weather's still not so good here, but should be fine tomorrow. Let us know if there's anything that you need from us, but just want you to be familiar that Live Plan is a very robust and important piece of software, a part of the loan package, part of the benefit that the client gets by paying their refundable deposit. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll see you back tomorrow morning. Have a good day. Bye-bye.